Okay, so welcome to another Facebook Live, and today I'm just going to give you a little quick rundown on the difference between hunger and cravings. And the reason I wanted to just bring this up is that a lot of people seem to struggle with it. We think we know what the difference is, but when it actually comes to it, when we start paying attention, it's not that straightforward, strangely enough. And I can relate. So a short description would be that real hunger is a signal from your body that your body needs energy of some kind, and that travels to your brain to let you know that you are hungry. Whereas the cravings are the opposite. They start usually with a trigger of some kind. They start in your brain, and then they travel down to your body to get your stomach to growl and get you to move. So that was the very short version I'm going to explain. Hi, Patricia. Nice to see you here. So, usually hunger signals, yay, yeah, you made it. Maybe next time as well, we shall see. So, usually hunger signals, they increase when you have physical things like your stomach is shrinking because there's no food in it. Then you will release different peptides that will tell you that you're hungry. And when your cells are low on energy, for example, then you will feel hungry as well. So this has to do with the insulin. So if you don't have enough energy in your cells, they will make sure that you're getting hungry. So when I say that it has to do with insulin, I mean the insulin resistance. I'm going to talk about that just in a second. And then I think I've talked about this before, but the leptin resistance as well can play a role here, or how much leptin we are secreting in our bodies. So when we are insulin resistant, so insulin's job is to knock on the cells and say, hey, can you let some of this blood glucose in? So they're letting energy into the cells. When we're getting insulin resistant, we're not really opening the door. We can't be bothered to listen to insulin anymore. So no matter how much you eat, if you have lots of glucose or sugar in your blood, you will still not get it into your cells because they are not listening to that signal. So you may still have signals saying that we are low on energy, which will create hunger, even though you have just eaten. So this is obviously a dysfunction, and we don't really want to be there. And likewise with when we have insulin resistance, we also very often have leptin resistance. And leptin is a hormone secreted by your fat cells. The more fat you have, the more leptin you're going to release. And that's all good. That's functioning as it should do. Because leptin is meant to be telling you to stop eating. We have enough energy. We can use this fat as energy. There's no need to go and hunt for more food. And we're actually full. Now, if you're leptin resistant, your brain is not going to get these signals, so your brain is still going to think that you are hungry, and therefore you will want more food. So these are how the hunger signals kind of work, very basic. There are more factors, obviously, but let's not get it too complicated because that wasn't what I was going to talk about anyway. So cravings, on the other hand, they are entirely caused by your thoughts. So usually we have some sort of food trigger, whatever that could be. It could be pictures of food. It could be events when every time you drive home from work, you drive past the supermarket and you go and get something, or you drive past a bakery and you always stop for a donut or whatever it could be. So this is what I've been talking about before. It's a learned behavior. You were doing these things and they always go together. So your brain is firing these neurons together. So whenever you're driving past after work, the whole scenario, you will get a craving because you're meant to stop by the bakery or the supermarket and get something. And this could be for anything. It could be small things that you don't even pay attention to. It could just, something really, really common is obviously when we are watching TV. Okay, what am I going to eat when I'm watching TV? There always has to be some sort of food involved. There has to be a snack. we can't just sit and watch TV. So this is a learned behavior, and that would trigger a craving. So a craving starts in your brain, and then as a thought, and that would trigger you, whatever happens in your body. As I told you before, I start to salivate a little bit, and then I know, oh, I need to go and get something. Oh, I need to go to the kitchen to find whatever I need. And it doesn't, for me, it doesn't have to be a specific thing. It's just, oh, I need something. So that is a craving. So hunger also feels very different from a craving. A craving is what will trigger me to get up and go out into the kitchen and seek out whatever it is that I am looking for. Hunger, on the other hand, it almost comes in waves, and it can be very intense in your stomach. So for me, if I haven't eaten for a while, it might actually almost feel like a cramp, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm really hungry. But I don't get this urgency necessarily to run out into the kitchen to find something. I'm just noting that I'm really hungry and I'm going to have to do something about this soon. Doesn't mean that I am feeling like, oh my God, I need to eat this and I need to eat that. It just feels like a proper physiological response. I need to fill this void in my stomach. But the thing with real hunger is that it usually comes in waves. So I can think that, oh my God, I really have to go and find some food soon, but not right now because I'm doing this thing right now. I'm having my Facebook Live. I can't just run off and eat. In a minute or two, or maybe 10 minutes, I will not feel hungry anymore because the hunger comes in waves. It just goes up and down and up and down. And the intensity of those waves can differ. So you can feel really, really hungry at one point, then it goes away, and when it comes back, it's just a little bit. And then the next time it comes back, it's just a little bit more maybe. And then it comes back and it's a little bit, and then it comes back and you're really, really hungry. And then you think, oh my God, this time I need to go and get food. And if you do, you're probably going to enjoy that meal a lot. But if you don't, it's going to go away again. So that's how real hunger actually feels. Now, the problem is, obviously, if you are insulin resistant or leptin resistant or have other hormonal problems, is that you're going to get these hunger signals pretty much constantly. So if you're always hungry for real, like you have the real hunger cravings, if I may call them cravings, if you have the real hunger signals, then there is a problem and you need to sort that problem out, because if you're constantly hungry, you're going to want to eat constantly. And if you have the cravings on top of that, you're going to want to eat foods that you probably shouldn't be eating constantly. So that's why I always ask people to cut out all flours, all sugars, and preferably all grains, and go into a more low carbohydrate diet, because that way we will let our insulin system we will let it rest, basically. We will let it recover, and eventually you will restore this function, because when there isn't insulin knocking on your cells constantly, your cells will start listening to that signal better. But if you have a lot of insulin constantly knocking on the cells, they're just not going to listen. It's like Peter and the wolf. So just to repeat myself again, so the hunger is something that will start in your body. You start to feel it in your belly, and it comes in waves, and then it goes like a signal up to your brain to tell you that you probably should be eating something soon because you are hungry. Whereas the craving starts in your brain as a thought, I need to eat something, or I want something, and then travels down into your body, and you can actually feel physically hungry, because that's how it works, because we're just looking for something and we think we are hungry. But what you can do as well, if you find it hard to feel the difference, because sometimes in the beginning, especially if you're insulin resistant and you have leptin resistance and you are genuinely hungry all of the time, you usually have the hunger and the cravings at the same time. So it can be quite hard to differentiate between them. So if when you are going out into the kitchen to look for some food, ask yourself the question, would I like to eat a plain boiled chicken breast or some other type of protein source without a lot of spices and just nothing fancy, nothing that makes it stand out, just as plain old boring food? Would you like to eat that? If the answer is yes, then you're probably hungry for real. If the answer is no, and you want something starchy or carby of some sort of kind, maybe you don't want the steak, but you want the baked potato with lots of butter with that, then that's probably more of a craving. And you might want to just sit through that craving and not pay too much attention to responding to it. So if you need help with how to work through your cravings, I posted a video a couple of weeks ago that was called Not Eating Sugar is Easy. And you can find it on Facebook, or you can find it if you're watching on YouTube, you can find it on YouTube as well. I'm walking you through how to actually just allow your cravings there. So that could be a good tool to just check that out if you are struggling with that. So yeah, I expected that this would be a short one, and for once I've actually done it quickly. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. Sorry, Patricia, now when you actually made it here. But if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them before I am closing this down. It's a bit of a shame that I can't see if you're actually typing. But I can see that you're still here. So I will take that as a no. And if you have any other questions or topics that you would like me to talk about, just, feel free to leave a comment either here or on YouTube, and I will read them through and make sure that I address everything that is relevant to cravings. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in a couple of days' time when I will be back with the next one. Bye.